Yes, hello, good day everyone. Welcome to our session for today for the subject Understanding the Self. And our topic for today's discussion is Lesson 6, specifically the physical self. By the way, my name is Sir Ken. I am from the College of Arts and Sciences. I'm a faculty from the Psychology Department. Now for today's session, allow me to share my screen to you so that we'll be able to see as well the lecture for today's topic. Now, as I mentioned, our topic for today is physical self. That's the sixth lesson for our subject, Understanding the Self. Now, as an introduction, the person's perception of themselves in for their physical appearance and abilities is an individual's physical concept. A self-concept is a representation which contains self-awareness. It is basically made up of physical characteristics, capacities of intellect and aesthetics, as well as traits. On this chapter, we'll be tackling the importance of having a positive self-awareness, self-consciousness, as well as self-esteem to be able to achieve life contentment and satisfaction. Now guys, for this lesson, pag-aaralan natin kung ano ba ang importance ng view ng isang tao, ng isang individual, ng isang adult, or even millennials as far as his or her physical self is concerned. Pag-aaralan natin kung ano ba ang impact of having a positive or negative view of one's physical self. Our objective for today's discussion is, at the end of the module, you guys should be able to explore the different aspects of self and identity, demonstrate critical, reflective thought in integrating the various aspects of self and identity, identify the different forces and institutions that impact the development of various aspects of the self and identity, and lastly, examine oneself against the different aspects of self as discussed in class. So our output for this lesson is a reflection paper, which is makikita nyo sa ating LMS. And the time allotment for the discussion or for this topic is good for 6 hours or 2 weeks. And let's begin. Now, physical and psychological attributes make up the human self. So, ang self daw na isang tao ay hindi lamang about the physical faculty, but it's also about the psychological faculty or the psychological aspect of a person. Hindi lamang siya our body parts, but it's also our human psyche, our mental attributes. Yun daw ang bubuo ng self. Now, the physical self of a person can be described as number one, a concept of a person's perception of description of the self, which includes his or her physical appearance. Sociologically speaking, kapag ang isang tao ay makikipag-usap sa kanyang friend, tapos itong friend niya na to ay may kakilalang iba. So sasabihin mo sa friend mo, "Uy, i-describe mo naman yung gusto mong ipakilala sa akin mamaya." Tapos yung friend mo na yon, the way na i-describe niya yung isang tao o yung pinapa-describe mo ay, yung makikilala mo mamaya, yun ay matangkad, yun ay mahabang buhok, yun ay of fair complexion. So, tayo mga Pilipino, it's very normal for us that ang initial laging description natin for a person is lagi yung physical characteristics. Kasi yun ang madaling matandaan, yun ang madaling ma-recognize. So let's just try to imagine kung ang magiging sagot ng friend mo ay, yung makikilala mo mamaya, yun ay mabait, yun ay matalino, yun ay pasensyoso. So eto, may mga nagdatingang tao. So sino doon? Yung mabait, matalino, pasensyoso. But as far as the description of the physical self is concerned, malalaman mo agad kung sino yung dinidescribe niya. Number two, physical self is the condition, attractiveness of the body, power and strength, and self-regard or self-esteem. So I just want to highlight yung term na attractiveness. How can we say that a person is attractive? How can we say that a person is handsome, beautiful, or good-looking? Ano ba ang standards ng tao pag sinabing maganda o gwapo o of good-looking yung isang tao? Lalo pa sa society na ang nagiging konsepto ng kagandahan ng isang tao ay dapat maputi ka, dapat ay matango sa ilong, dapat ay matangkad. So ano ba talaga ang konsepto ng beauty? So sa yun sa mga pag-aaralan natin maya-maya. Next, the assessment of the physical, including the evaluation of both physical appearance and physical competence, is called physical self-esteem. It is also synonymous to self-worth. Gaano mo ba view ang sarili mo? Ikaw ba yung klase ng tao na meron kang mataas na inferiority complex o nahihiya mong i-present ang sarili mo sa ibang tao because hindi ka maganda, hindi ka matangkad, hindi ka in or hindi ka physically katulad or physically blessed, I should say, compared sa mga friends mo, ba? And next, physical self is the physical qualities of a person. Well, the definition on the fourth one is that's very self-explanatory. I mean, that's very straightforward. Physical self is this. Tayo, yung katawan natin, our body, our physical attribute, that is simply our physical self. Now, the simple definition, or from the simple definition, it can be said that the physical self is a combination of body and soul. Now, hindi lang daw ang physical self ay yung itong katawan natin. Itong ilong natin, tenga, mata, buhok, body parts. But it's also a combination of our body parts and our soul. Yung ating kaluluwa. So we cannot say a physical self as physical self kung body lang siya. There should always be a combination ng body and then the soul. And of course, hindi naman natin matatawag na physical self kung body lang siya at walang kaluluwa. Hindi rin naman natin din masasabing physical self siya kung kaluluwa lang siya pero walang katawan. Diba? So that is physical self. Now, there are a number of psychologists who made some or created some definition about the concept of physical self. So simulan natin sa number 1 ay si William James. Now, according to William James, body is the main origin of human sensation. Ang katawan daw ng tao ang pinaka-prime na pinagmumula ng senses, ng pakiramdam ng bawat tao, which is very important to maintain the personality of a person, which is true. So, for example, ating katawan, isang sense ng katawan natin ay, of course, our sense of sight. Now, because we are seeing our environment, seeing scenarios, seeing events, those things that we are witnessing or seeing can mainly affect our personality, can change our personality, can change our viewpoint, can change our behavior. Halimbawa na lang, isang tao na palaging nakakakita ng violence sa kanyang pinapanood, palaging nakaka-witness ng violence sa kanyang kapaligiran or sa kanyang family with the senses, or not only the sense of sight, but sense of hearing din siguro, or even sense of touch kung na-experience niyang siya na-abuse. So, that can primarily impact his or her own personality. Ba? So that is what William James is trying to point it out sa atin. Na ang ating daw katawan is the origin of sensation which can impact our personality. Now, body should be dependent daw or should obey what the mind says. So dapat daw ay there should be a teamwork between the mind and the body. At kailangan daw ay nag-agree yung ginagawa ng ating katawan on what our mind is saying or what our mind dictates. And lastly, according to William James, when there is good concentration daw of our mind with a good connection with our body, may eliminate daw natin yung painful sensation. Example, na-experience na natin na magpabunot ng ngipin. So for the first time, nagpabunot tayo ng ngipin, syempre nandun yung takot, nandun yung kaba. And then experience natin yung pain. But on the second or on the third time, nagpabunot na tayo, since we have had this experience already sa una nating pagpapabunot, alam na natin kung paano magko-concentrate. Alam na natin kung paano tayo magfo-focus. At doon nababawasan yung painful sensation na tinatawag. That is according to William James. Now, we have also Sigmund Freud, the father of psychoanalysis. Hindi po siya father of psychology, siya po ay father of psychoanalysis. At kilala siya sa kanyang theory of psychoanalysis. Now, in line with his concept about the physical self, according to him, the construction of the human self plus the body, plus the personality is equals the body. So just like what we have discussed earlier, na the human self, the body, and the soul plus the personality of the person makes up the prime body. Okay, so the physical body plus the personality makes up the body, quote unquote, the body itself. Okay. Next, we have Wilhelm Reich. So si Wilhelm Reich, siya yung kumbaga sa mga theories na to, or sociologists and psychologists na to, siya yung pinaka-most focused with the body. And according to him, the physical body is a combination of the human mind and the body as one. So ang mind at ang physical body as one. And all the processes of a person's psychological faculties. So it's a combination of mind, body, and psychological faculties. So yung ating mental state or mental status na tinatawag. So the combination of the three, yun daw tinatawag na physical body or the physical self. That's according to Wilhelm Reich. Okay? Now, anong difference nito kay Sigmund Freud? Now, kay Sigmund Freud kasi, yung body daw, the human self and the personality lamang. Pero pag sinabi natin na kay Wilhelm Reich, the human self plus the psychological faculties of a person. Ang personality kasi under siya ng psychological faculty of a person. So kung kay Sigmund Freud, nakafocus lang siya sa personality, pero kay Wilhelm Reich, pinalawak niya. Totality, yung pinaka-total or sum of a person's psychological faculty, which includes the personality. Okay? Next sociologist natin ay si Erik Erikson. Now, according to him, experiences of a person are originated in the ground plan of the body, and the interaction of the body, psychological processes, and social forces are very essential. For Erik Erikson, kumbaga, in-explain niya ang konsepto ng body na nandun yung influence ng social forces. Social forces which includes these social environments such as our family, school, church, significant others, friends, relatives, workmates. So, ipinapaliwanag ni Erik Erikson na ang physical body daw natin can also be influenced by psychological processes, our personality, our behavior, as well as the influences of the society or the environment around us. So that's according to Erik Erikson. Next, Carl Jung. So for Carl Jung, the physical, ang explanation naman niya about the concept of physical self is that the physical body and the environment has an interaction with each other. Now, kung kay Erik Erikson, physical body, psychological processes, and social forces, kay Carl Jung naman ay physical body and the environment lamang. So walang kinalaman o hindi na ganun in-emphasize yung psychological processes. So just the body and then the society around me or the environment around me. That's it for Carl Jung. And lastly, we have B.F. Skinner. For B.F. Skinner, according to him, the body is of primary importance. And human being as an open box, although our this open box is not empty. Kumbaga, for B.F. Skinner, it's just like yung katawan daw natin, it's just like an open box that is always ready to be filled in with experiences, always ready to be filled in with learnings, always filled in to be filled in with knowledge and ideas, di ba? And as far as this box is concerned, kapag daw ito ay na-filled in na, so that will greatly impact positively our physical self, our physical body. So that is according to B.F. Skinner. The body is of primary importance. And this body is just like an open box na hindi naman empty. Diba? Kasi na-fill in nga siya ng iba't ibang influences such as learnings na nagigay natin, experiences, knowledge, and all. Okay? So those are the different sociologists and psychologists na nakaka-influence or nagbigay ng definition about the physical self. Now, physical self do have different factors or types or categories. So here are the different categories of physical self. Ito kumbaga yung pinaka-elements ng physical self na bumubuo. The combination of these ay siya yung bubuo sa totality ng physical self. Number 1, intellectual self. So this mainly talks about a person's rationality, how we think, how we rationalize, how we decide. Now, a person, we are a rational animal. As compared to animals, we have the capacity to think rationally, to decide rationally, diba? And on to intellectual self, na-explain din ito ni St. Thomas Aquinas. Now, according to St. Thomas, a person who has an intellectual soul can rationalize and understand. Take note of the word intellectual soul. It's just, hindi lang sa basta soul but an intellectual one. A soul who knows how to think. A person who knows how to understand. A person who knows how to rationalize and explain things and ideas. Kaya nga tayo yung kumbaga sa creation ni God, tayo yung rational being That makes us different from His other creations. Because binigyan niya tayo ng blessing of intellect and being rational. And an intellectual person can reason out with logic and act by his goal he wants to achieve. So that's the first element, intellectual self. Next, cultural self. So culture educates a person. It encompasses all that an individual thinks and of all that he possesses as a member of particular society. Now, ano naman ang impact ng culture sa physical self ng isang tao? Let's just put the continent Africa as an example. Sa Africa, parang culture, sa kanila, it's very common for us to see people na hindi ganun ka-white yung complexion. It's very normal for them to have dark complexion. And they have culture that they have on their areas or in their country na ginagawa nila sa kanilang body, such as piercing, such as doing tattoos and all. Now, ikaw na foreigner, kapag pupunta ka doon, makukulture siya ka na, ay, bakit ganito yung ginagawa dito sa bansa na ito? But that's normal to their country. Diba? Pero kapag ang isang individual from that country ang pupunta dito sa atin, magugulat din tayo na, ay bakit ganito na lang manamit to? O bakit ganito ang mga piercing nito, mga butas nito sa katawan? But we cannot blame them. But we cannot make fun of them because it's their culture. Now, dito naman sa Pilipinas, kumbaga naging kultura na ang mindset ng mga tao sa concept of beauty ay kailangan maputi, kailangan matangkad, kailangan matangos sa ilong, kailangan ay maganda ang buhok. At kapag hindi ka, quote-unquote, pasok dun sa quote-unquote standard na yon, maapektuhan nun ang self-esteem mo. Ito. Yang highlight natin. Self-esteem. Yung tingin mo sa sarili, yung worth mo, yung silbi mo, yung kahalagahan mo. Nakikita mo, mga friends mo, ang mga friends mo ba, ang puputi, ang kikinis, ang vein sa katawan, ang tatangkad. Siyempre, ikaw, gusto mong makigaya. Kasi gusto mong gayahin yung kanilang kultura. Gusto mong makiin sa kanila. Pero since hindi ka makain, yung self-esteem mo, yung worth mo as a person is affected. Yung worth mo as a person is kine-question mo na. Am I really worth it? Do I deserve to be their friends? Do I deserve to be in? Diba? So that's how culture impacts physical self. Next, aesthetics. As far as aesthetic is concerned, lagi itong kinoconnect sa word na beauty. Ano ba talaga ang definition ng salitang beautiful? Is it something that is pleasing to the eye? Diba? What if a person may be seeing, what if us, makakita tayo ng tao na quote-unquote, unano, maitim, kulot-kulot ang buhok, diba? Can we say that that person is ugly? What's the definition of being ugly? What's the definition of being beautiful? Let's always reflect onto those things. Kasi technically naman, wala naman talagang taong pangit o maganda. Or I should say, wala naman talagang taong pangit. Lahat ay magaganda. Nagkakaiba-iba lamang tayo on the way we perceive things, on the way we describe things, on the way we accept things. What is something beautiful for you may not be something beautiful for me. What may be something handsome or good looking for you may not be something handsome or good looking for me. Diba? And the bottom line should always be respect. Do not impose to other person kung anong dapat niyang paniwalaan. Kasi paniniwala niya yun eh. Hindi mo pwedeng sabihin na, ay pangit yan. Naku, wag yan, pangit yan. Hindi. Kasi baka dito sa taong to, maganda yun para sa kanya. Lalo pa man din dito sa Pilipinas, di ba? Parang maraming tao na basher. Makakakita lang ng uncommon, beautiful and not handsome na lalaki sa social media, lalaitin yung lalaki. Makakita lang ng handsome na lalaki tapos not so beautiful girl, lalaitin yung babae. Diba? And let's reflect. Anong mindset meron tayo? Why do we need to bash them? Kasi hindi pasok sa panlasa natin? Kasi mas deserve ni maganda ay isang gwapo? Kasi deserve ni pangit ay isa pang pangit? Diba? Let's reflect. Okay. Beauty is an inner quality. So I love this definition. It's an inner quality. It's not always outside. It should always be inner quality. What is innate within us? A way of living, a way of acting, a way of looking. Maganda ka nga. Masama naman ugali mo. Gwapo ka nga. Basta gulero ka naman. Diba? Outer beauty, yeah, it contributes. But it should not dictate what a person is. Or it should not describe what a person is. Hindi natin pwedeng husgahan ang totality ng isang tao based on outside beauty. Ito, makakita ka ng not so good-looking person. Pero di mo alam, lawyer pala siya. Top-notcher pala siya sa board exam. Diba? Manager pala siya ng isang company. Pagpasok mo sa klase, ang ingay-ingay mo, tapos may katabi ka na tahimik, di mo alam siya pala teacher mo. So we can never tell. Again, bottom line is respect. And we have self-esteem and self-concept. Now, the basis of beauty in a person is a fit body and healthy image and self-esteem. A high level of self-esteem and awareness of the concept of self are important attributes of a person's happiness. So what is the definition ba ng salitang happiness? For me, happiness is contentment. Contentment of what you have, who you are. Kasi hindi mo ma-achieve yung happiness kung hindi ka kontento eh. You wanna achieve more. You wanna gain more. You wanna be more beautiful. You wanna be more light-skinned. You wanna have more fair or good complexion. You wanna have a better nose form, better eyes, better lips. And if you are always asking for more, you cannot achieve happiness. You cannot achieve satisfaction. You cannot achieve having positive self-esteem. Yung total evaluation mo sa sarili mo. You cannot achieve getting some self-worth. Yung silbi mo, yung image mo. Kukwestiyonin mo na yung iyong inferiority complex. A-attend ka sa birthdayhan or may birthdayhan na ini-invite ng family mo, ayaw mo sumama. Kasi iniisip mo na agad na, ay pag-uusapan lang naman nila ako kasi ang dami kong pimple. Ay pag-uusapan lang naman nila ako kasi ganito, ang pahit-pahit ko, ganito, ganyan. Diba? So that is how human perception about the concept of beauty affects self-esteem and self-concept. Now, the basis of self-esteem and self-concept originated from the quality of a parent-child interaction in infancy and early childhood. In psychology, kumbaga, me as a psychology teacher sa field namin, childhood experiences, it's really, really very important. Most especially the way parents are taking care or mentoring or teaching life lessons to their children. Kasi kung bata pa lang ang mga yan at tinuturuan na natin kung ano yung salitang pangit, ano yung itsurang pangit, ano yung itsurang maganda, anong itsurang nakakatakot o kailangan layuan, without us teaching them the value of the inner beauty. Diba? Medyo delikado yon kapag puro outer beauty lamang tinuturo natin sa mga bata. Without us letting them realize that it's not always be on the outside, but more importantly, what should be on the inside. And there are different strategies to increase self-esteem. So number one, determine the reason of having why we have low self-esteem. Ano ba nagpapababa ng self-esteem ko? Dahil ba hindi ako matangkad? Dahil hindi ba ako maputi? So we should always know. Hindi yung pwedeng, hindi ko alam kung bakit. Dapat alam natin. Para alam natin kung paano natin siya i-work out. Number two, emotional support, which is very important. Always remember that we are not alone. We have our family, we have our friends who are always there ready to support us, who are always there ready to accept us. If there are some things that we cannot handle accordingly or we cannot handle rightly, we have our family who's always ready to guide us. Next, take accountability and responsibility of one's own self-esteem. So wag nating sisisihin lagi na ang ibang tao kung bakit mababa self-esteem natin. Kasi it should always start from us. Diba? Gaya nga number one, let's determine the reason kung bakit mababa ang self-esteem natin. At hindi yung kaya mababa ang self-esteem ko kasi gawa ng mga tao yun, gawa ng barkadahang yun. So bakit? Bakit ganun sila sa atin? Diba? So we should take the accountability of knowing. Next, reach personal goal. So ano bang gusto natin ma-achieve? Gusto ba natin na model type of physical self? Gusto ba natin na commercial TV actor, actress type of physical self? And upon thinking of those things, is it achievable? Is it reasonable? Kailangan ko ba talaga na maging ganon? Number 5, develop coping style and strategies. So what are the things that I need to prepare or to strategize para ma-overcome ko yung mga challenges sa pagko-question ko sa self-esteem? Example, kapag tinukso ako ng pandak, so paano ko siya i-handle? Dapat ba ako magwala? Dapat ba ako magalit? Dapat ba akong kumalma? Dapat ba ako mag-inhale, exhale, or tanggapin sa sarili ko na siguro nga, ganun ang tingin nila sa akin, pero hindi naman nila alam kung ano pa makaya kong gawin para maging successful ako bilang isang tao. Emotional and social approval are very, very strong influence to self-esteem. Always remember na hindi ikaw nag-iisa. You have a lot of support system. When in need, ask for help. When in need, raise your hand. When in need, call a friend. When in need, talk to your family. Embrace them. And let them know na nanay, tatay, I need to talk to you something, I need help, or just give them a hug. That will help. And we also have what we call self-awareness. Gaano ba kilala ang sarili mo? It refers to the extent to which a person is currently connecting his or her attention on his or her own self-concept. How well do you know yourself? Hindi mo alam na napapasobra ka ng focus sa physical self mo without you balancing it out with your emotions, without you balancing out with your morals, without you balancing out with your virtues. So you should always be aware of what your physical self needs. Kailangan ba ay sobra ang pangailangan mo para sa katawan mo? Para ba improve ang sarili mo? O kailangan ba ay less? O kailangan ba ay tama lamang? You should know. We also have physical self and self-consciousness. So there are two types of consciousness. Number one is private consciousness. And ito yung mga common statement kapag pinag-uusapan yung private consciousness. Number one is I'm always trying to figure myself out, tsaka I am generally attentive to my inner feelings. So from the word itself, private, so it's just for yourself. Okay? And next would be public consciousness. How conscious you are sa perception ng mga tao sa'yo, sa view ng mga tao sa'yo, sa tingin ng mga tao sa'yo. Is it important? Is it necessary? Yung bang feedback ng mga tao sa'yo ay kailangan mong damdamin o kailangan mong i-reflect? Yung ba feedback ng mga tao na yun sa'yo ay kailangan mong balikan ng sagot o away sa kanila o kailangan mong i-accept at i-check kung valid ba yung feedback na yun o yung feedback ba na yun ay talagang makakatulong sa akin o hindi naman talaga. So we should always remember na public viewpoint is important, but what is more important is how we handle those feedback. What's more important is how we handle those criticisms. Whether it's para sa ikabubuti natin o sa ikasasama. Pero mas maganda, more importantly, of course, ay sa ikabubuti natin. Maturity is the key. Okay? And that's the end of our topic. Now, sa ating LMS, nag-upload ako doon ng lecture, itong lecture natin na to, as well as some suggested readings and some suggested videos na pwede mapanood related to physical self. Now, in conclusion, the physical self of a person is very important. It is really, really important. How we're gonna take care of our physical self, how we're gonna take care of what the Lord has given us, and more importantly is how we are gonna maintain to our physical self to make sure that it will be fully functioning and operational and will be used accordingly. Self-consciousness is also important, as well as self-awareness and social awareness. The concept of beauty, how we're gonna define what is beautiful, what is ugly, how we are gonna handle criticisms from other people about our physical body, how we are gonna handle their feedback from other people about our physical body. So everything starts from the way we view it, the way we handle it, the way we perceive it, and the way we are gonna work out for it para sa ikabubuti at sa improvement ng ating sarili. Okay, so that's it for today's discussion. Don't hesitate to send me a message in LMS or via Facebook Messenger if you have any questions or clarifications. Again, this is Sir Ken from the College of Arts and Sciences, Psychology Department. Have a nice day to everyone.